Good morning and welcome to Coffee and, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsockеtradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
And a good morning to you. Coffee and time here on ON, AM, and FM on a wet Thursday morning. It's July the 10th. My name's Joe Callahan. At the coffee and table, here's attorney Bob Lauder. Hey, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you with us this morning. And Sue Tesher-McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times is here. Hi,
morning.
Sue.
And wet morning would be an understatement.
It is. I know. I'm stating the obvious. You know, they have those commercials for Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
That's me.
Wow.
Hey, it's raining, everybody. Well, no kidding. All right, I got a good question. Go, Bob.
Okay.
You got a question for me? I got a question for you.
I always thought that being a radio announcer was a really great job because you could interview people, like Sue and me. You could report on the incredible news. But this morning, I'm listening to your radio station, and this guy with a nice baritone voice is saying, the time is now 6:13 a.m.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, okay, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so he has to repeat that for each one of them. And then there's 12 hours in a cycle, so he has to read a script that says it is now 6:15, 6:16, 6:17.
That's right.
For 720 times to
Yeah.
cover a 12-hour
Right.
hour period.
That's right. He was paid quite nicely for that.
Would you want to read the time for
Well, if I'm paid
720
quite nicely
times?
for it.
He probably did it. It probably took him a week to
Okay.
do it. He didn't just do it for us. He's a nationwide guy.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would say, because I thought about that too. I said, how long would it take you to do it, to keep it the same level that you're at for 12 hours?
I don't think
And you got to say every one, 6 o'clock, 6:01, 6:02.
Right.
And then start the next
I
hour.
would think by 11 o'clock,
You'd be-
okay,
yeah,
it's
you'd be like-
11:14. Come on, 11:15. Let's
Yeah.
get a bit.
Tough.
Okay.
But he was paid for that. So, but you only have to do it once for whatever company he's with. So I only got to do it once, and now it can go out. It never has to change. It never changes.
Okay.
So the time never changes. So I got a question for Bob, Sue.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
so-
ready.
But have you hit your computer?
I don't.
Because Sue's
I got
going to
my
come up with the
phone.
right answer.
I don't think so on this one.
You know this one.
But we've had the story over the last couple of days, and it's the man out in Burrillville who is accused of pointing a gun at the police officer when they showed up at his home.
Right.
Okay. He was arraigned on Tuesday.
Correct.
Okay. He did not enter a plea. And I thought when you don't enter a plea, I thought one was automatically entered for you, like a not guilty.
Right.
So if you don't enter a plea, what happens?
Okay. He was arraigned in the district court because anybody who is initially charged with either a misdemeanor or a felony is first arraigned in district court.
All right.
The charges against him are felony charges. So the district court does not have the jurisdiction to handle a felony charge. They just bring the person before the court to determine whether or not they should be released on bail or on bond, or if they should be incarcerated until the next court hearing. So when he did not enter a plea, the court considers him to be not guilty because they cannot accept a guilty plea from him, and consequently the case is going to be remanded over to the Superior Court. So the fact he didn't say I'm not guilty doesn't really mean a whole lot on the district court level with a felony, because they can't do anything other than make the determination as to whether or not he's released or he's held until the next hearing in jail.
Would his lawyer be the one that says he's not entering a plea, or would that be him that actually said it?
I don't know if he had an attorney at the time. I would imagine that he probably did, because I would think that if he didn't have a private attorney, he would have retained a public defender by that time. And they probably just said, we're not entering a plea, and the court accepts that as, okay, that's a not guilty. Because even if he'd come before the court and said, I'm absolutely guilty of all the felony charges against me, the district court does not have the authority to determine any kind of penalties for a felony crime. So it would still go to Superior Court anyway.
Then why ask at district court if you're guilty or not?
I think it's just a formality.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Seems like a waste of time now.
Well, it's like 30 seconds.
Well, I know, but still a waste of time. It adds up after a while, you know.
It's
guy
a long
doing-
time according to the guy that has to tell that time.
yeah, it's,
All right. Now, it does say Bail was set at $10,000. It does not say if he was released or not, if he made the bail. His next court date is October 1st.
Okay.
So
If
he's either in jail or he's not, right?
if he's able to meet the bail standard, then he'd post the $10,000, and he'd be released and show up in October.
Okay. Speaking of that, about the public defenders,
Yes.
you see what's going on in Boston? They're releasing prisoners because the public defenders, not that they're on strike, they're just not working.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have an update? They want more money.
Okay.
Who pays the public defenders? Who decides what they get paid?
I do not know. I think I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if the Attorney General set that.
I could look that up
Price
for you, but I don't. Sue's gone
Here we
on
go.
to the. No, Sue is getting the correct answer. Thank
fi-
goodness she's
find out
here.
Find out who pays public defenders in Massachusetts. 3 criminal defendants were released from custody yesterday in Lowell because of a lack of bar advocates to defend them.
Okay.
More have been released, by the way. The private attorneys who take court-appointed defense roles have stopped taking cases in protest of low rates that they are paid. Yesterday's hearings in Lowell involved 10 defendants who have been held for over a week without having been assigned counsel. All right? The bar advocate work stoppage has been going on for over 40 days.
I wasn't aware of any of that. Okay.
Who pays them,
In
Sue?
Massachusetts, public defenders are paid by the state.
Right.
Specifically, the Committee to Public Counsel Services, that's CPCS, the state's public defense agency. They pay the salaries of full-time public defenders and compensates bar advocates who represent
Indigenous.
that's it, I can't see because I don't have my glasses on, individuals. Bar advocates are private attorneys who have been approved by the state to represent individuals who cannot afford their own counsel.
All right. The bar advocates are the ones that say we're not getting paid enough.
And
So
Sue's
that's-
applying for her bar license. She knows more than me. Yeah. Go for it.
So they're just not working, Bob. Or they're just not. They're not taking on more cases.
Okay.
So they're on strike, but not on strike at the same time. Well,
Interesting.
when you come out of law school, is there a stepping stone? Do you have to be a bar advocate? Do you have to be a public defender before you move on to something else?
No.
You don't, okay.
When you graduate from law school and you pass the bar in whichever state you decide to be in, and I passed the bar in Rhode Island, also down in the Commonwealth of Virginia, then you're on your own and you can set up your own office, such as I have done. You could work for somebody else, which was what I first started to do here in Woonsocket, and you could be hired by a firm. You could work for a company.
If you wanted to be a public defender,
Then you'd apply to the public defender's office.
Okay.
To be interviewed and see whether or not you qualify for the services that they'd be offering to the potential defendants.
I see. All right. Interesting what's going on in Boston, though. It's the first time I've ever heard of lawyers not taking a job.
Wait a minute.
Well, they could say, no, I'm not taking the job because I don't see us winning, that kind of thing. But public, I didn't think the public defenders had that option. Here, you're the next person up, so you get person X.
Well, you also have to realize that whoever is working as a public defender has a limited number of cases that they can handle competently. You can't handle 900 cases
Right.
in a month if you are trying to defend people correctly. You'd probably be handling a much smaller number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's keep an eye on that because that's what's going on in Boston. So they're just letting people out because they can't give them counsel.
Well, they also probably are figuring out that the individuals who they're releasing are not going to be a danger to the public.
Oh,
or
right.
are
They
not
are
going
rather
to be
small crimes.
running away outside the jurisdiction to avoid
Yeah.
further prosecution.
I read one time where they were going to release 6, but they only released 4 because 2 of them had warrants out on their arrest in other counties. So, all right, we're just
Right.
going to transfer them to another county. They probably get a public defender in another county because they're not on the strike there. All right. other things going on here in Rhode Island, and let's talk about silly, all right, and just things you really shouldn't do.
Rhode Island silly?
There's a
Wait,
man.
we're not getting to the
People
Florida man.
silly?
We're
Come
not getting to
on.
Florida man status, are we?
Not quite there yet.
Okay, good.
But this is close though. A Rhode Island man is accused of threatening to kill President Trump. This is according to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. The man has been released from custody after one appearance in federal court. Carl Montague's release comes with conditions. He must get mental health treatment. He cannot have a firearm. He cannot take part in alcohol or drugs. And he can't leave Rhode Island. And he has to surrender his passport. And he has to look for work. Doesn't say he has to get a job. He's just got to look for work. All right. Now, according to an affidavit, Montague admitted to posting threats online, saying he was smoking a lot of marijuana and had no intention of acting on what he posted.
Did it
Brilliant.
say where he had posted it? I understood he'd posted it actually on President Trump's own
What's his
social
name?
media.
Truth Social. Carl Montague. Montague, just like Romeo and Juliet.
I'm surprised.
So yeah, that's what I heard too.
I'm surprised if that part is true, that the president's social platform doesn't have some way of preventing somebody from making disparaging remarks about the president on his own communication network.
I don't know if they would have those kind of parameters set up, because that was the whole point of it, is that it's free and say whatever you want. But freedom of speech that we have comes with consequences.
Oh, it does. But
And this is one of them.
right.
If you're going to threaten
I'm
the
just
president,
surprised that
you're going to get a visit.
the platform doesn't have some way of making sure that threats against the president are not, in fact, broadcast over its own network that's owned and operated by the president.
I mean, it's certainly possible that someone is monitoring it at some
Right.
point. They see that, okay, we take it down, but we save it and give it over to the Attorney General and the
Okay, that
Deputy
makes
Chief of
sense.
Staff of the Secret Service and say, why don't you go play this guy a visit?
Okay, that makes
And they did,
perfect
because
sense.
they've arrested him. So,
Okay.
find anything, Sue? No? Okay.
Well, back in 2023, he wanted to move to California. Maybe he should have
Well,
done
maybe
that.
you should have, yeah. Little sunshine, the palm trees, would have been nice. All right. New poll out, survey by Salve Regina University, and Governor Dan McKee's approval rating is at 25%.
This is not an election year. I don't think people are probably really much aware as to what any of our political representatives are doing. So it doesn't surprise me that he has a low approval rating, because I would imagine if you walk down any street in this city or in Providence and said, "Can you tell me what the last thing is that the governor did that impressed you?" Probably people
Impressed will
would
come up
say
with nothing.
nothing, because
Yeah.
we don't have a collective memory that's that long, and also there hasn't been any remarkable event that's taken place. As we get closer to the election, I would imagine that each candidate's campaign is going to be saying, these are the good things that my particular candidate has done in the last term, and this is why he should be reelected for the next term. And also the opposing candidates are going to be saying, these are the terrible things that this individual has done, and why the individual should never be considered for public office again. So
All they know, maybe you'll disagree, but all they know is the Washington Bridge is not fixed.
that's probably about right.
And we go right to the top, well, then it's Dan McKee's fault.
Yep.
It may not be.
I think
It probably isn't.
public conception is probably right along those lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I always thought that, and we go way back here in time here in Woonsocket. It was Leo Fontaine was mayor at the time, and going against Lisa Baldelli Hunt, and Lisa won that election, only because the general populace of people that live in Woonsocket, not paying attention to what's going on, all they know is they got an extra tax bill
Yeah.
1 year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And let's say, what? Who okayed this? Well, the mayor did. Well, whether it was right or wrong,
Is
if you get the extra
irrelevant.
pay
They
bill,
don't
you're
care.
out because you sent me an extra tax bill. Lisa's in.
Yep.
I
Could very well be.
I thought absolutely that's what's going to happen.
Wow.
Now I got no proof that that's the real reason, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there was a lot of people that thought that way.
Sometimes we as common folk have the common sense to know certain things. And then you hear on the news that a study was done. And I can't help but look at the TV and say, you needed a friggin' study for that? You needed a study for that? So what you're saying, like, you're probably correct. There won't be a study on it, but you're probably correct anyway.
Well, right. That's like this one with
I think it's very
the
modest,
governor.
though, of Sue to say common folk when she is dressed so fantastically great. It looks wonderful.
Common folk.
Oh, no, this is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Well, Salve Regina's University's Pell Center did the poll. They polled 840 Rhode Islanders during the month of June. The first thing they asked was, did you vote in the 2024 presidential election? And then they went from there with the, so how do you think about the Dan McKee? So,
Have you ever been called for a poll like that?
not on the phone. I've been sent like emails for saying this is a poll if you want to answer it. But
yeah, I've gotten that.
I just never know if they're real polls or not
Yeah.
polls. So it's like, and sometimes I don't know if you do this, Sue. Sometimes I'll start, and I'm expecting 5-6 questions. It's
Yeah.
going on and on.
Oh, I'm out.
If I'm going 10
I'm
minutes
out.
later, forget it.
I'm out.
Just drop the whole thing,
Yeah.
and now I'm not
Nope.
answering anything.
I'm out.
You're bugging me now.
Absolutely.
All
Now
right.
you're just annoying me.
That's right. Sue and I are the same on
I
this.
don't think I've ever been asked.
No,
I get a lot of, whether it's an email, and I get a lot from, like, CVS, for example. Let everybody know what you thought of this purchase. Dude,
Oh, yeah, I
it
get
was
that.
shampoo.
I get that,
Okay,
too.
it was shampoo. We
Yeah.
really need to let you know what I think about the product. So I do get a lot of that.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to get me to fill out one of them, tell me I'm going to get a $10 reward. They've done that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then we can talk. But other than that, no, my time is valuable.
Our hearty appreciation is what you get at the end. The joke that makes its ways around Facebook, similar to the CVS, is people purchase something off of Amazon, and they said, "Yeah, I got the request to review the product." They go, "It was dog food." I didn't try any. I have no idea if it's any good. The dog seems to like it.
Right? What do you do? What do you say?
All right. Coffee is going to continue. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
OM 1240. Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the job delivered. Large orders of lumber, doors, windows, paint, plumbing, anything the job needs, all from one partner. Get it today with same-day delivery. Get it tomorrow with next-day delivery on 50,000 plus products. Or get it on your timeline with scheduled delivery on everything from framing to flooring. It's time to get your whole job, all your jobs delivered. Ask about all our new delivery options at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON AM and FM.
It's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here on the Wet Thursday with Bob Lauder and Sue Tessier-McKenzie. And Sue, it is time. I should have told you ahead of time. Time for first message from the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times.
Listen, after all this time, I really don't need a warning.
Okay.
I kind of know. That doesn't mean I prepare for it. I'm not like Bob. I don't have my notes.
You do it
But
so
anyway.
great off the cuff. It's amazing. I wish I could.
Right? Well, we are currently working on a community choice preview, which personally I consider it a top of mind awareness. Get your name out there before the nomination cycle or the voting cycle and so on. So we are running this special section that we'll be publishing in the paper on July 24th. Just a reminder to let your readers vote for us, keep us in mind for this and that, and what we're best at. So that section again will be coming out on July 24th. If you're interested in advertising in that section, you can give me a call on my cell phone at 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue. All right, let's see if Bob agrees with this judge. All right,
Okay.
it's not in
like
Rhode Island.
those.
Oh, good.
It's in New York City,
Great.
and the judge is giving a mother from Manhattan the okay. She can now sue TikTok and Instagram after her son was killed. You know what he was doing?
I have no idea.
Subway surfing. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Riding on top of the subway. The grieving mom is suing the social media companies because she claims TikTok and Instagram helped popularize this trend.
Okay.
Her 15-year-old son died in 2023 after falling off the top of a New York City subway car.
I would imagine the reason that they've gotten the report that you have there is because she's already started the lawsuit, and the defendants, TikTok, have filed a motion to have it dismissed or get a summary judgment in their favor by saying that she didn't have the grounds for the claim, and now the court is saying yes, the case can go forward.
Okay.
So
But whether or not she wins,
That's going to be
that's
later
something
on.
else.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know if she has much of a case here.
I don't know how.
That's tough to prove.
well.
Well, go ahead. Bob.
Yeah, they posted the video, and other people
posted the
on
video.
their platform.
But they are the ones who are publicizing it and bringing this before the attention of the public, just like a libel. If I whisper into your ear that Sue is doing something terrible, and you say okay, and then you put it out in a newsletter to your community, you're publishing something that is incorrect. I think that they can be just as liable that way. Yes.
See, I would disagree. I 15 years old, you said?
Yes.
So their brain hasn't fully developed. But what about all your friends who are around? Somebody had to videotape it, right? Don't tell me you were the only kid that did it.
Well, they're probably only showing on TikTok and Instagram people that survived. Here I am.
Right. Oh, no, exactly. But
doing the
somebody
act,
is
but I
recording
lived.
it.
Well-
Somebody's recording it.
Right. But I don't know if they recorded the 15-year-old dying. They only record and show the people that
yeah,
survived
but the
doing this.
purpose of having the TikTok and doing what TikTok
Yeah.
is showing is to also be on TikTok.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm guessing there is a video somewhere, because that's the whole purpose. They want to also be famous on TikTok for
look at-
doing X, Y, Z.
Look at me doing this.
I mean, and that's why there are so many of
Mm-hmm.
these videos. And there are some older people that say, okay, everybody on TikTok is doing this. Everybody on TikTok's trying this mascara. Now I'm going to try it. And they said that if I rub my hands in water, it won't come off. Whatever the case is, that's what people are doing, so that they can then end up on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot.
Now, how do I get to the top of the subway car at 78? Am I going to have a ladder or something to get me up
Don't
there?
they have ladders attached to the cars for...
Oh,
I don't know. I haven't been to New
Oh,
York City
it's,
subways. Well, they stop at the station, doors
Right.
open, people get in and out.
You gotta be,
In between cars, that's where the ladder is. You're right.
okay.
Yeah, in between the
that-
cars.
Jump
in the
on
back.
there.
I still got a shot of doing this.
Oh,
thing.
sure, Bob. Yeah.
You
yeah.
have a
Okay.
chance,
I
Bob.
just thought getting on
Put-
top of the
put that on
subway
your-
car might be a little bit difficult.
Put it on your bucket list, okay?
And I will
And Sue will videotape.
videotape you.
You ride in the cars, you know?
Uh-huh. Whoa.
Well, anyway,
Good thing my insurance will be paid up.
certainly hope so. It is against the law, by the way, so if the cops see you, if the transit police see you, they're not going to be happy, all right?
Yeah, that's true.
So back here in Rhode Island, a little excitement down in Cranston. Cranston police have arrested 2 suspects.
Busy day.
Shots were fired in the Garden City Center.
I heard that
on Wednesday
yesterday,
morning.
yes.
Police said 21-year-old Andres Pizarro and 31-year-old Andre Ross shot at a man who was walking out of the gym. Probably a Planet Fitness, you think?
No,
I think
L.A.
it's LA.
Oh, LA
LA Fitness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he was an intended target.
Yeah, that's right. The target of the gunfire was not hit. Police spotted the suspect's vehicle on 95, followed it to a parking garage at the Providence Place Mall. Perfect place to go. And police arrested the suspects. They're facing multiple charges. An arraignment is scheduled for this morning sometime.
But at the same time, they also had a standoff with an individual.
In Cranston?
Yeah.
Yeah? On a separate case?
Separate.
Wow.
Separate
Okay.
thing, separate situation. Armed robbery. That's what I couldn't
Yeah?
think of the word. Armed robbery. I'm looking at my arm. I couldn't think of the word. It was an armed robbery.
And Ed DePreet died
Yes.
yesterday. 91 years old. And, he was good for a while, and I
And then he got in
forgot
trouble.
how long he spent in prison.
But Bob couldn't defend him because Bob doesn't do felons.
That's right.
Not any longer.
18 counts. I didn't remember it was that
I
many.
didn't think it was that
18
many either.
counts of racketeering. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I
what
think-
was going on in the State House?
Well, I think it was allegations that he allowed contracts to go to individuals and had received some money in return for that.
A little
I think-
kickback for those babies?
I think so. I think
We pled
according
guilty to those 18 counts.
According to the news last night, it sounded as though the collective amount of money that he had received as a result of that was about $250,000.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
what
is
I
that
heard.
all?
Well, back in 1990s,
Well, it
80s,
was
that was
pretty good money.
more than it is now. Yes.
Yeah. He was governor from 1985 to 1991. And no funeral arrangements have been made just yet. You know who else passed away yesterday? Alan Hassenfeld.
Yes, I saw that
You
on
know who
television.
that is, Sue?
I don't know by the name, but I might have seen it. What does he look like? Oh, never mind.
What's it? I don't know. A man, dark hair, glasses.
Alan
Bob, you know who it is, right?
Yes, the president of Hasbro.
Hasbro Toys.
Okay, yes.
It
See,
talked
that's why
also-
I.
it
that's
didn't
why I
go
didn't
into
know.
enough detail about the great stuff that family has done in making donations
Yeah.
that have helped people. The Hasenfeld Pavilion at the hospitals, things like that. That
Started the
family has
hospital, Hasbro
been,
Children's Hospital.
has been incredibly generous, and that's I think is the real story behind them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean that when you think about it,
Because
Hasbro
when you think of
Children's Hospital was,
other people who have considerable sums of money, such as people like Elon Musk, we don't
Yeah.
have stories about any particular generous donations made by him. Now, maybe he has, but it certainly doesn't have the same ring that it does
Well,
to
he's not
Hasenfeld.
he's not a Rhode Islander either.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but still, I know what you mean, Bob. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I always feel that if you are of a celebrity status or, financially, in a place like this was, this gentleman, and you do something good, but he went over and above. I mean, that's a hospital, for
yeah.
God's sake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it was Taylor Swift had donated $5 million to one of the flood relief. I think it was to South Carolina, and people still picked on her for it.
What? It's not enough?
Well, why doesn't she get out there and get her hands dirty? 'Cause she's touring, but she sent $5 million to help those. So that's why you don't always hear what some of these people are doing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, don't get me wrong, not that I'm a, fan, but I'm sure Elon Musk has done a lot. You just don't
very
hear
well
about
may.
it.
I'm just not aware of it.
But
And
I know what you're saying. I get it. I agree with it.
And they get tax breaks for doing it.
Yep.
So it's in
So
their best interest
it's there, right.
to do
But-
stuff like that.
But you know what? I will also say that growing up in a Catholic school environment, one thing that was always said is never
Boast about
boast
what you've done?
about what you've done for others,
Yeah.
because it kind of makes it
Not as good.
right.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Still do it.
you still do it. Don't be expecting any credit for it.
Right.
That's the way it's supposed to be. But then again, if you don't mention it, if you do mention certain things, then other people might get involved. Other people may help. So it's like a fine line. You know, nuns that were teaching you back then may not have always had the exact,
No
the
good
correct statement.
deed. No good deed goes unpunished,
No,
right?
I'm right up there with that one. I'm a candidate
But
for
Sue's
that.
analysis is really good.
Yeah.
She's given more thought to this. Yes.
All right.
Good.
Well, I do things, and you have to think of these things.
TF Green Airport was voted best airport in the United States
Great.
by Travel and Leisure magazine. That's pretty well respected in,
Wow.
in the industry. So
Yes.
number in the entire country. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Now, did that take into account the fact of the big calamari poster that they have down there?
Maybe. They based the opinions on accessibility, food,
Good.
shopping, and just your overall experience.
Well, having flown out of TF Green, I enjoyed it. I think that's
Now,
a-
when they say
a good
shopping, they're
airport.
talking about in food, just what's in the actual airport.
Yes.
I would imagine
Okay.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's shopping in there.
There's actually a lot in.
I'd have to check it out. Last time it was a year and a half ago. For me.
Look around, and especially when you go to other airports. You know, there's diamonds, there's jewelry stores in
No
there,
way.
in airports,
Oh,
and
wow,
there's
I had no
clothing
idea.
stores. I'm like, are people really coming
need-
here to?
I need-
I've seen ones selling suitcases.
But now, do they sell? But is it only after you pass security?
Yes, it is. yeah.
Okay, so
There's
maybe that's
nothing before
okay.
security.
Could be before security. You're like, okay, it's just whatever building.
Especially TF Green. Well, it's a very nice. It's a good-looking sailboat.
Yeah,
You can see that.
That's
nice.
it.
And it's like, all right. And then you go up the escalator, and that's where security is. But in terms of dealing with TSA, I found that the people at Green are far friendlier than other TSA agents at other airports. Maybe because we're smaller than you're like a Logan
Right.
or like a LAX or something like that. But it always catches me off guard because I don't expect them to be friendly.
Right.
And
Right.
joking around. I'm like, oh, that's a joke. Okay,
Yep.
got it. All right, Sue, time for a second message from the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times, and then we'll take a break.
Okay, so you all know we're going to mail. Everything's been delivered. I reminded everybody last week that we will no longer be publishing on federal holidays. Some holidays are questionable. People don't always know which one's federal and which one's just Rhode Island decided to do this. But yeah, no more paper on any federal holiday. If, however, you're looking for some back editions, back photos, back stories, you can give me a call on my cell phone at 401-487-4136, because on those federal holidays, we will still have an e-edition printed. There won't be ads, etc. in it, but we will have an e-edition. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, call my cell, 487-4136.
All right, Sue, thanks. Time for the forecast being brought to you by Indeed.com.
The National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for the Blackstone Valley today, meaning they wish that you would stay advised of any weather changes that are coming along, as there will be rain today and enough to cause flooding should it happen in our area. 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms today, patchy fog, high of 73 degrees. Tonight, cloudy skies, overnight low of 65. Friday's weather, mostly cloudy and 82, calm winds. Saturday, mostly sunny and 85, calm winds. Sunday, mostly sunny and 83, calm wind. Monday is a 30% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Partly sunny skies all day with a high of 85. Tuesday, partial sunshine and 87. And Wednesday, sunny and hot with a high near 90, calm wind.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, clouds, rain, and 69 degrees. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Assisting families in their time of need means planning a service that's appropriate, traditional or personalized, with special references to public service or military honors. Often people ask, how can I assist a family? The answer is usually just be there for them. And in some cases it may mean securing a home, taking care of pets, and compiling important documents. The dedicated staff at the Estepardo Memorial Chapel will guide you through the process, whatever your needs. For more information about pre-planning, please call 767-5577. They're located at 1583 Diamond Hill Road, Woonsocket.
Thanks for joining us on Coffee and Joe Callahan here with Sue Tester McKenzie and Bob Lauder. Bob, time for first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to move away from ancient cases I've been discussing in the last few weeks and return to some cases that are more recent. First case I'd like to discuss with you involves the issue as to whether or not a lender can foreclose on a mortgage deed when the landowner who pledged the real estate as security did not sign the original promissory note. The case is known as the Bank of New York versus Gossett. In the Bank of New York case, a father borrowed money from the Bank of New York and as security signed a mortgage deed which encumbered the title to certain real estate. Two of his daughters owned the real estate along with him, and they signed the mortgage deed as well. However, they did not sign the original promissory note, which included the terms of repayment to Bank of New York. After the father died, the agreed-upon sums were not repaid, and the bank began foreclosure proceedings on the real estate. The daughters objected. They said they had never received any funds from the bank, they had never agreed to repay any sums to the bank, and the bank should not be allowed to foreclose on their real estate to enforce repayments to which they had never agreed. The Rhode Island Supreme Court ruled against the daughters. The court reasoned that the mortgage deed made specific references to the promissory note, and also referred to the daughters as borrowers throughout the mortgage deed. There was no genuine material issue of fact in the case, and the bank was entitled to foreclose on the real estate. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thanks. Joining us at the coffee and table, let's say good morning to Dominic Doron. Hi, Dominic.
Good morning.
From St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. And if you got a good law question, Bob's right here.
Yeah, I don't have a good law
Nothing.
question.
Too bad.
I try to walk the
So
straight
Bob's
and
happy. So it's funny. We asked Bob the question, and then Sue looks up the answer. But
I'm his law clerk.
His
His law
clerk.
clerk.
From 8 to 9 on Thursday mornings.
All right. Dominic's here because St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center is having a fundraiser this Sunday. Tell us all about it, Dominic.
Yes, our annual Christmas in July fundraiser over at Cello's. Here in Woonsocket. What happens? You go to Cello's. We have a special card you're going to bring with you. You can obtain the card online at our website. Or if you visit our friends at Belo's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Little General on Cumberland Street, Missy's Family Restaurant, Pine Swamp Place, Timeless Antiques and Collectibles, or Vos True Value Hardware, you can grab one of these cards and you present it to your server, and Cello's will donate up to 20% of your check to the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. And of course, when we do these events, we like to do extra stuff. So when you come to Cello's is going to be decked out for Christmas. So Saturday night before they close, we'll be hauling in the 15-foot Christmas tree. We'll be setting up a little area for Santa in his beachwear, and decking out the restaurant. Anyone who comes to participate will also be entered into drawings. We have little prizes that we draw all throughout the day, and then we also have tickets to, drumroll please, big surprise, the Polar Express.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So you could win tickets to the Polar Express just for coming and joining us and participating on Sunday at Christmas in July, Cello's in Woonsocket. It's only the Cello's location in Woonsocket, so don't go to another Cello's. It has to be the one in Woonsocket. And you present this card, and we'll be there literally all from open until close. So come by, say hi to us, and we hope to see everyone there.
And you have to present the card.
You have to present the card.
You can't walk in and say, I'm here to...
Correct. You have to present the card.
You have to have the card because it's written right on the back of this card.
And you only need one card per party, so you don't need one. So if you have a party of 10,
okay, gotcha.
You don't need 10 cards. Just one card will cover the entire party.
But it's nice to doing it the whole day because oftentimes you'll have the fundraising dinner from 4 to 6. And this is nice that it's all
Yeah,
day.
Cellos is very, very
Accommodating?
accommodating and
Yeah.
excellent, because they do this for a lot of other organizations and stuff too. But I would say that I've seen other ones at other places, and you're right. There's a lot more restrictions.
Yeah.
And so Cellos, as a hometown restaurant, a local chain, local family-owned restaurant, is very generous in that aspect. And one of the great things about these types of fundraisers, you're not only supporting the organization, you're also supporting a local business, and you're also supporting the local community, because more tax revenue from local businesses stays within your local community. So it's a 3-for-1.
Now, it says that Santa's going to be there.
Yes.
If I talk to Santa now in July, does that get me higher up on his list for Christmas time?
You'll have a better chance.
That is real tempting, because Santa never seems to get to my name.
And are you encouraging people, Dominic, to dress in Hawaiian shirts and fun outfits like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Come dressed as if you're on vacation, sure. And you also, I was debating whether I should say this or not. You're gonna get laid. So
Did the beep just go off? Did I just hear a beep?
That was Dave
That
falling.
usually happens to me.
That was Dave falling down the stairs.
So as long as supplies last, we have a lei for everybody that comes in. So a lei is symbolic of peace and love and harmony. And we've done that the last couple of years as well. So you come into Cellos on Sunday, and you'll be given a lei.
All right.
Sounds great.
This conversation could go all over the place.
I know.
Because I got a couple of those at home.
So you can enjoy the food at Cello's, or you can take it home as well and still get that 20% going to St. Anne's.
Yeah. Again, just present the card, and they'll attach it to your
right.
bill, and then that's it.
And you've done this before, Dominic?
This
kind of fundraiser?
I think so. We actually do this twice a year. We do one in January, and then we do the July one. And I want to say this is our 3rd or 4th year doing the Christmas in July. And so so Saturday night we'll be bringing in a truckload of decorations, and then the outside usually gets decorated as well the morning of, and then everything gets taken down at the end of the night.
And you have one in January, so I can complain to Santa.
So you can complain to Santa after.
Good,
yeah.
good.
And then make amends in July.
So I'm reading the back here, and one thing it says is, you may win a chance to win tickets for the Polar Express. 2 ways to win.
So just by coming,
Okay.
attending, you'll get a ticket to win. And if you dress in a tropical fashion, we might give you another ticket to go into the pod as well.
Still with the card.
Card, yeah.
That- I emphasize that because oftentimes people think they can just walk into things.
No, we gotta.
Yeah.
That's the
Gotta
one.
have the card.
Gotta have the card. That's the one stipulation. So, again, the card you can print it from our website,
Which is?
StAnneArtsandCulturalCenter.org, or visit our friends at, and this is nice too because of the community, all these businesses come together to help us out by allowing us to put the cards there. Belu's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Little General on Cumberland Street, Missy's Family Restaurant, Pine Swamp Place, Timeless Antiques and Collectibles, and Vos True Value Hardware. They all have cards, and you just go in, you can say hello, grab a card, and see you on Sunday.
Sounds great.
Sound okay, Bob?
Sounds wonderful. What other good stuff's happening down at St. Anne's?
We try. We definitely try.
Well, anything coming up down there?
Well, this summertime we take a little bit of a break. We'll have some private rentals coming in, and then we'll gear up for the fall where we have our annual Halloween party. We do a Christmas party. We do our annual Trim a Tree in conjunction with Vos True Value Hardware and Angelette over there. And then those will be the things to kind of wind up our season. And then, of course, we have our weekend tours on Sundays from 1 to 4. Through usually we shut down around Thanksgiving because temperatures start dropping, and so we have the weekly tours going on as well. So
Great.
we're kept pretty busy.
Good.
All right. And from past experience, pretty well attended at the Cellos at this event?
Yes, very well attended. We at the end of the day we usually get a pretty nice check.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we wish you best of luck. Do you have your Hawaiian shirt already picked out, ready to go?
Yeah, I have mine left over from last year.
Oh, there you go. Then you're all set.
So I'll be good to go.
All right, so that's this Sunday, which is July the 13th, and it's all day long. So not breakfast, but lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner,
At
open till
Cello's.
close. 11:30 to 10.
Just grab one of the cards, and you can help out St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Very, very nice. All right. Other things going on. I don't know if you heard this yesterday. There was a fire in Walpole, Massachusetts. The good news is 10 horses were rescued. All right. The bad news is 8 horses died.
Oh,
This was a large fire. It took place in a 150-year-old barn, completely engulfed in flames. 150 years old. It's made out of wood, so it's going to go up pretty quick. And it happened at nighttime, around 10:45 p.m. on Wednesday night. One person was treated for smoke inhalation, so no people died, but 10 horses.
Wow.
8 horses is a lot to lose. That's gonna. I don't know why. What they did with the horses, but horses are not cheap.
No.
No, I wonder if the horses were all owned by the same individual, or were they boarded
there?
I don't know.
It doesn't say. It's the Moore M-O-R space Lynn L-I-N-N farm.
Wow.
The Moore Lynn Farm. So I don't know.
It was
maybe they were just housed there.
brings up an article that was in the paper a couple of days ago about the zebra at the Roger Williams Zoo.
Yeah.
That during not
The storm.
thunderstorm 2 nights ago, but the thunderstorm
Thursday.
last week, apparently panicked and ran into a fence and killed itself.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And that cuts down. Now there's only 2 zebras at the Roger Williams Zoo. I thought there were more. But,
It is a boarding stable.
It is. Oh, jeez. That's. Now, I'm sure they have insurance. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Just the same.
But
they-
still, to lose your
But
pet horse.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So this was kind of amusing. Dave was, kind of laughing at this. A man who, speaking of airports, was at Logan Airport, thought he'd make the good decision of stealing a taxi.
Okay, that starts off with some bad things right there.
Well, first of all, there are cameras everywhere.
everywhere.
So, but
And the meter is running.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So he hops on the Mass Pike and heads west. Obviously, you can't go east. He heads west, and they just called ahead to the state trooper barracks, which is on the Mass Pike in Charlton. And here's the taxi that's been stolen. Here's the plate number.
How
Here's
far
the
up
number.
was he?
How far did he get?
Stole it from Boston?
Boston.
Well,
yeah.
all you had to do was freaking stop him at any one of the tolls.
Maybe he paid. I
You
don't.
still have to slow down at a toll.
Yeah. Well, they got him. It doesn't say when he stole it, but he was stopped at 7 in the morning when he was arrested by the state troopers. So he had a nice ride down the Bass Pike for a little while, and then
He'd have been better off to just park the thing, walk off at some expressway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some exit ramp. That's what he would have been better off to do.
or
We
not
probably had to
do it
get-
to
get-
start
Keep
with.
driving.
Yeah.
he probably had to get somewhere.
Idiot.
Yeah.
It would have been much easier. The limo guys are standing there all the time with the signs that say Joe Callahan, and you just go up and say, "Hey, I'm Joe. Let's go." Get in the car and you're off.
No.
The real Joe Callahan's coming down with his luggage 2 minutes later, and
That happened to us once.
I was going to ask you that because you see it in movies and TV shows all the time. I'll just pretend to be the person they're looking for. Has that happened?
I mean, I could tell you stories, but there were 2 in particular. One where I was picking up a person, and my husband was always the one that picked this gentleman up. And he used to always say what a nice guy he was, so on and so forth. So I'm standing there with the sign. I'd never driven this guy. He walked by me a number. I got the sign, but he just kept walking by me. And finally, at one point, and he was a nice-looking man, not going to lie. And at one point, we both stopped and turned around and looked at each other. And that's when he went, "Sue?" I said, "Joe?" Another one was when we got on the highway because the sign said Joe. Again, 2 Joes. What does
Wow.
that tell you? And so the gentleman's name was Joe, but not the Joe we were picking up. So when the Joe we were picking up, when we were technically only driving his limo, it was his limo. It was
Oh, okay.
Joe's limo. And we had a different Joe in the car, and we're heading home, and the driver can hear the wife going, "Why is he going this way to get home? Why is he going this way?" and that's when it clicked, and
I
now
got
I'm
the wrong
getting the phone
person.
call like,
Oh.
"Where's my car?" Yeah, I got.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was
What a mess.
You can't make that stuff up.
No,
boy.
no. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Bob, time for your second message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. The second case I'd like to discuss with you this morning involves the issue of alimony. And the case is known as Cronin versus Cronin. This was a divorce case, and the marital assets available for equitable distribution were significant, more than $9 million. And the trial justice, having heard the evidence, made a 60-40 split of the assets. However, the judge denied the request of one of the parties for entitlement to the receipt of alimony from the other party. In Rhode Island, a grant of alimony is authorized by statute, which reads, "Alimony is designed to provide support for a spouse for a reasonable length of time to enable the recipient to become financially independent and self-sufficient." In the Cronin case, the judge noted that although the applicant had not worked in private industry since just after her marriage in 2006, she did acknowledge working at developing her own business. And even if she decided not to seek employment, she will have sufficient assets to support herself at the same standard of living as she enjoyed during the marriage. The judge ruled that the decision to deny alimony was not based upon the plaintiff's intention to retire soon, but rather on the defendant's independent ability to support herself. The defendant appealed. She noted that although her share of the marital assets was more than $3 million, the acquisition of assets did not automatically mean that she had demonstrated an ability to become financially independent and self-sufficient, and that she was entitled to alimony until such time as she had acquired those skills. On appeal to the Supreme Court, the court ruled that the trial justice had considered each of the elements set forth in the statute, and finding that the judge and the defendant would be financially independent and self-sufficient were sufficient to affirm the denial of alimony. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. And the Coffee and program will continue right here on ON Radio.
ON 1240.
Attention Rhode Island landlords. Did you know that Rhode Island has a new registry for rental properties and units? Register today at rentalregistry.ri.gov. It's the law. If your property was built before 1978, you'll need to submit a lead certificate from a licensed lead inspector. Getting a lead certificate may take some time, so start today. Learn more at rentalregistry.ri.gov. Help keep Rhode Island families safe. rentalregistry.ri.gov. Sponsored by the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ON, AM, and FM.
All right, it's Coffee and here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan, along with Bob Lauder, Sue Tessier McKenzie. Dominic Dwaron is here, and he's got his St. Anne Arts and Cultural fundraiser at Cello's. Remember, this coming Sunday, all day, lunch and dinner. And you got to pick up the cards to get 20% to go to St. Anne's. Where can you get the cards? Dominic?
Yeah, so you can print them online at our website, StAnneArtsandCulturalCenter.org, or visit our friends at Belos Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Little General on Cumberland Street, Missy's Family Restaurant, Pine Swamp Place, Timeless Antiques and Collectibles, or Vos True Value Hardware.
All right, Dominic, thanks. All right, we talked about the T.F. Green Airport and how they're the best in the country. But the Tampa, Florida International Airport, they're having a little fun. Now, the TSA announced that certain airports, you won't have to take your shoes off anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're rolling out to see how it works. But it's only like 6. And I think the closest one to here is LaGuardia.
To see how it works?
I guess, to make sure no one tries to do anything funny. All right? So there's LaGuardia, there's one in D.C., LAX is another one. But the Tampa one is not one. You're still going to take your shoes off there. But back to the TSA having fun with you in
They have
Providence.
fun?
Well, the TSA is the Tampa airport's having a little fun after the TSA announced passengers can keep their shoes on while passing through security. Tampa took to social media on Tuesday to announce the update. A footnote at the bottom of the post stated, "Unless you're wearing Crocs, you should take those off and throw them away."
Their security issue about feet, they have a footnote on the bottom of the security notice.
Pretty clever, huh?
Footnote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good, huh? Followers were quick to comment, saying things like Crocs, where a person's dignity seeps out through the holes. The airport social media accounts are known for their humorous and witty content. So they're having fun down there in Tampa. So that's nice. All right. I hope no one here wears Crocs. You might be offended.
I wanted to look down and I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't wear Crocs.
I don't do Crocs. I
Okay.
don't do Crocs. I won't do Crocs.
No?
I don't know anybody that does Crocs, but I have seen them publicly, and then you look at the feet and you look at the person going, it doesn't match. Not the type of person expected to be wearing Crocs in some
All right.
cases.
My son wears them, but he wears them as slippers, and just around the house.
Yeah, but
Well, that's
okay.
okay.
So other men that I've seen, big burly guys wearing a Croc. Maybe it's because they were slippers and they chose to wear them out the house because
He doesn't wear them out of the house.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, right.
A big burly guy doesn't fit.
Wearing Crocs, it doesn't fit. Okay. Did you hear about this? Mattel, the toy company, is launching a new Barbie.
Yes.
Have you heard about him?
Yes.
Dominic?
No.
This new Barbie has type 1 diabetes. And the doll comes complete with a glucose monitor. The toy maker partnered with the nonprofit organization Breakthrough T1D in the development of its new doll to ensure an accurate reflection of the devices. The Barbie Fashionista's doll with type 1 diabetes is available for purchase. Guess how much it goes for?
I have no idea.
I thought it would be a lot more.
North of 100?
Oh, no. You're
$20.
too high. You're too high as well. $10.99.
You're kidding.
I thought
Really?
I was thinking $20.
Well, yeah, $20. It would definitely be no more than that because my daughter had a lot of Barbies.
Yeah.
I mean, my mother and my sister both, they gave her these so many, and they were always less than 20, regardless of whether it was the holiday Barbie holding the ornament like this in the box and all of that good stuff.
Well, I'd imagine there are a number of little girls who are afflicted
Might have
with
that.
type 1 diabetes, and it's sort of a reaffirmation that they're just as good as anybody else.
That's
Yeah.
right. So it's actually a good
Well,
idea.
that's
Wonderful.
the purpose of doing that. You know, like you can be anything. Barbie,
Yeah.
1 minute, Barbie, doing this today, being a teacher, and then the next day flying the shuttle or whatever.
All right, we're going to get, we missed a commercial, so I want to get this commercial in for Chan's Fine Oriental Dining.
Let's talk again about the entertainment at Chan's Fine Oriental Dining, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. Tomorrow night, Friday night, the 11th of July, it's Kenny Neal. Now, Kenny Neal's a guitar player, and you'll find he's one of the strongest modern proponents of Baton Rouge swamp blues, second-generation Southern Louisiana blues man who is cognizant of the region's venerable blues tradition and imaginative enough to steer it in fresh directions. 40 in advance, 45 at the door. Saturday night, the Love Dogs CD release party with special guest Ricky King Russell. That's on Saturday night, the 12th, from 8 to 10 at Chan's. The Love Dogs are funny, funky, and push a beat 50s style until you can't help but tap your feet. It's the Love Dogs CD release party. And coming up next week, Sugar Ray and the Blue Tones at Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. And oh, by the way, they got great, yummy Chinese food, too, at Chan's.
Okay, we just have a few more minutes to go here on the Coffee and program. And Dominic Dwarman, thanks for coming in from the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Tell us everything about the fundraiser this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday, Cellos here in Woonsocket all day from open till close. Bring in this special card that you can print at our website or visit our many friends, such as Vos True Value Hardware, Timeless Antiques, Belo's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Little General in Cumberland Street, Missy's Family Restaurant, and Pine Swamp Place. And Cellos will donate up to 20% of your check to the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. It's a day of fun. We have prizes that we'll give out all day for people just for participating. Dress in tropical fashion. You'll get extra tickets for the raffles, and one of the raffles, the bigger raffles, will have gift cards, but also tickets to the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council's annual Polar Express, which
cool.
I work on. So,
there you go.
You can visit me twice.
All right, fantastic. Dominic, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and Sue Tester-McKenzie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the week.
All right, and Bob Lauder, thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Hope to be with you next week.
All right, I'm Joe Callahan. Stay tuned for Do You Remembers coming up after the 9 o'clock news here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This